Get out. The words hit me like boiling oil, unexpected and scalding. I stood frozen in the middle of the living room, my hands gently resting on my huge belly, heart thumping wildly beneath my chest. The walls of our house, once filled with laughter, memories, and Mama's loud gospel music, now felt like they were closing in on me. I said, "Get out, Nyambura. Leave my house before I curse you myself." Mama's voice was loud enough for the whole compound to hear. I glanced at the open window. Sure enough, curious neighbors had already stopped what they were doing. A child across the fence paused while skipping rope. A woman at the water tap pretended to scrub a sufuria, her eyes darting toward our door. But Mama didn't care. Her image was crumbling in the eyes of the community she worshipped more than anything else, and she blamed me entirely. "You brought shame to me. To this home. To the church," she barked, her heavily powdered face twisting in fury. "How do you walk around like that, swollen like a balloon and not even married?" I couldn't speak. My throat burned with swallowed sobs. I had always known Mama had a sharp tongue, but I never thought she would use it to stab her own daughter like this. She walked up to me, nostrils flaring, her usual Sunday church scarf knotted around her head like a crown of judgment. "You know what the women said after service last Sunday? Eunice, the one who prays the loudest, her daughter is a disgrace." Her voice cracked. I was humiliated. I couldn't lift my head. "God knows how I've sacrificed for you. I gave you everything. But you decided to become a street girl." "Mama," I whispered, finally finding my voice. "Please. I need you right now. Just let me stay until the baby comes. I promise, I'll leave after. Please, please don't do this to me." She picked up a small bag I had packed earlier and hurled it at my feet. "You should have thought of that before opening your legs. I raised you better." The words cut deeper than a knife. I staggered backward, tears rolling down my cheeks, tasting salt and betrayal all at once. I looked around our living room, the place where I'd taken my first steps. Where Mama used to kneel and pray for hours, always ending with, "Lord, make Nyambura a woman of virtue." How could a woman who worshipped God so deeply forget compassion when her own child needed it? "You always judged other people's children, Mama," I said quietly, through tears. "Now I've become the lesson you refused to learn." Her lips trembled slightly, but she stood firm. Pride wouldn't let her soften. She opened the door and pointed outside. "Then go. Go be the talk of the town somewhere else. Not under my roof." I bent slowly to pick up my bag, my back aching. The baby kicked again, as if sensing the storm we were walking into. I stepped out. The sky was cloudy. The evening wind was sharp, slicing through my thin sweater. I had no shoes on, just a pair of old sandals that barely fit anymore. Mama shut the door behind me. I didn't look back. The neighbors' whispers followed me down the narrow path. Everyone had something to say. No one had a place for me to stay. I walked for nearly an hour, not knowing where I was going. I passed shops, churches, even the old kiosk where I used to buy sweets. No one saw me. No one asked if I was okay. Eventually, I found an abandoned building. The door was broken, and there were cracks in the walls. But it had a roof. And for now, that was all I needed. I sat down on the cold floor, laid my bag beside me, and leaned against the wall. The baby moved again. I rubbed my belly and whispered, "I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but I promise, I will never treat you the way Mama treated me." I closed my eyes, hugging my unborn child. The world had turned its back on me. But I still had hope. And little did Mama know, the same girl she rejected would rise from this dust, stronger than she ever imagined. The night was long and cold. The wind howled through the cracks of the abandoned building like a crying ghost. I didn't sleep much, my belly was too heavy, the floor too hard, and my heart too broken. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Mama's face, twisted with disappointment. Her last words echoed in my mind like a curse. "You're no daughter of mine. I pulled my sweater tighter, though it did nothing to stop the shivers. My back ached, and my feet were swollen from walking too far. I was hungry, thirsty, exhausted. As the sun slowly rose, casting orange light through the dusty window, I forced myself up. I had to find help. I had no phone. No money. No friend to call. But I had something Mama could never take away from me, my will to survive. I walked slowly, one hand on my belly, the other clutching my bag. Each step felt heavier than the last. I passed people on the street, most of them looked at me with pity. Some looked away completely. But then, someone stopped. "Hey, sister. Are you okay?" I turned to see a woman, maybe in her late 30s, wearing a bright yellow dress and a head wrap. She looked worried. "You look like you haven't eaten in days. Sit here." She led me to a bench under a mango tree. "My name is Mama Shiko." "What's your name?" "Nyambura," I whispered. "Nyambura, what happened?" I looked down at my stomach. My mother kicked me out. I have no one. I'm 8 months pregnant. Her eyes widened, then softened. She didn't judge me. She didn't start preaching. She just said, "You're not sleeping outside tonight again. Come with me." I hesitated. I had heard stories of women being lured, of girls being tricked. But something about her felt safe. And honestly, I had no choice. She took me to her small 2-room house behind the market. It wasn't fancy, but it was warm. It had food, water, a bed. I cried when I saw the bed. "You'll sleep here until the baby comes," she said, handing me a plate of ugali and sukuma. "And after that, we'll figure out something together." "Why are you helping me?" I asked, chewing slowly. My body trembled, not just from the warmth, but from disbelief. She sat beside me and sighed. "Because I was you once. Pregnant. Alone. Judged. Kicked out. But someone helped me, and I promised to pass it on. God didn't bring you to me by mistake." I cried again, not because I was weak, but because I had finally found kindness after so much cruelty. Days passed. Mama Shiko treated me like her own daughter. She rubbed my back when I had cramps. She brought me tea in the morning. She taught me how to make small crafts she sold at the market. She made me feel human again. Then one day, as I was helping her fold clothes outside, a well-dressed woman walked by. She paused and looked at me. "Are you Nyambura?" she asked. I blinked. "Yes, why?" She smiled and held out her hand. "My name is Janet. I run a program for young single mothers. Mama Shiko told me about you. I think we can help you." And just like that, a door opened. A new path was beginning. Mama thought she had thrown me away. But what she didn't know was that God was picking me up. And my comeback? It was just getting started. It had been 2 weeks since I moved into Mama Shiko's house, and for the first time in months, I was sleeping through the night. The nightmares had stopped. My back still hurt, and my feet were swollen, but my spirit? My spirit was healing. Every morning, I sat with Mama Shiko under the mango tree, helping her tie beads, fix old clothes, or fold handkerchiefs. She taught me small things I could do even with my big belly. "Even a pregnant woman can create something beautiful," she always said. And she was right. I had never thought I could earn anything with my hands. Mama had always told me that school was the only way out, and when I dropped out after Form 4, she said I was useless. But here I was, learning business from a woman with no degree, but a heart full of wisdom. The day Janet returned, everything changed again. She brought me a care package, baby clothes, diapers, milk, soap, and even maternity pads. I stood there speechless, staring at the soft pink baby blanket. "It's yours," she smiled. "You deserve to prepare like every mother does. With dignity." Tears fell before I could stop them. You're not alone anymore, Nyambura, she continued. Our center offers free training for young mothers. You can choose to learn tailoring, cooking, or hairdressing. We even help you start a business after. And there's a daycare for when your baby comes. I was stunned. Opportunities? For a girl like me? A pregnant dropout? A girl whose own mother chased her out like trash? Mama would never believe it. I could already hear her voice. That place is for wayward girls. Nothing good will come from it. But Mama was wrong. 2 days later, I joined the program. I picked hairdressing because I remembered how I used to braid my cousin's hair back in the village. It was something I enjoyed, something I was actually good at. The center was full of girls like me. Some were even younger. Some had babies on their laps. Some had more painful stories. But none of us were judged. We laughed. We cried. We learned. We grew. One day, during lunch break, Janet sat next to me and asked, Nyambura, what do you want most after the baby comes? I paused. I want to build a life where my child never feels rejected. I want my own small salon. I want to show Mama that I was never a shame. Just a story she couldn't understand. Janet smiled. Then we'll start preparing for your salon, step by step. That night, I lay in bed and whispered to my unborn child. They threw us away, but we're rising. You and me, baby, we're going to shine so bright they'll have to look away. And then it happened. The next morning, I felt something shift. A sharp pain. Then another. And another. It was time. Mama Shiko rushed me to the clinic in Boda, her hands holding mine tightly the whole way. You're strong, my girl, she whispered. You've come too far to break now. By evening, I was in tears, not from pain, but from pure joy. I held my baby girl in my arms. She was tiny. Warm. Beautiful. With a full head of hair and bright, curious eyes. I named her Zawadi, my gift from God. In that moment, I wasn't the girl who got kicked out. I wasn't a shame. I wasn't a disappointment. I was a mother. A warrior. A survivor. And as I rocked her to sleep, I whispered. Mama may have thrown me out, but Zawadi, I will never throw you away. Eh? You haven't heard? That girl who was kicked out by her mother gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. Mama Eunice nearly choked on her tea when she overheard that conversation at the market. She was at her usual corner, the one where she liked to stand and pretend she was shopping, but really, she was collecting fresh gossip. Which girl? She asked quickly, acting like she didn't already know. Nyambura. You remember? Your daughter's age mate. The one who got pregnant and disappeared. I heard she's doing well now. She even joined some training center and people say she's planning to open a salon. Mama's face froze. Her hands started shaking slightly, but she covered it with a cough. TSK. All these centers encouraging girls to be rebellious, she said quickly, her pride rising to cover the cracks in her shame. But it was too late. The damage had already been done. For the first time since she threw her daughter out, Mama Eunice felt something she wasn't used to feeling, uncertainty. She walked home in silence. Her house, once filled with self-righteous declarations and loud worship music, now felt empty. Cold. Quiet. She hadn't heard from Nyambura in over a month. She didn't even know if she had survived childbirth. But hearing that she had made it, and that people were praising her, stung more than she expected. She's thriving, without me, she whispered to herself, staring at the family photo on the wall. Back at the Women's Fellowship that Sunday, more whispers followed. You know Nyambura? She's now a mother. She gave her baby such a sweet name. Zawadi. I even saw her photo on Mama Shiko's Facebook. She looked glowing. Mama Eunice's face tightened. Glowing? How dare she glow after all the shame she brought? How could a girl she tossed out like trash be rising like a phoenix? She stormed out of the fellowship before the closing prayer. Her pride couldn't stand the whispers anymore. Back at home, she stood in front of the mirror, staring at her reflection, the perfect headscarf, her white blouse, her pearl necklace. All signs of a respected church mother. But deep down, she knew the truth. She had chosen her reputation over her daughter's pain. She had chosen image over love. And now, the world was celebrating the same girl she buried alive with her words. Meanwhile, at the training center, I was thriving. Zawadi was growing fast. Her eyes followed me around the room. She giggled when I made funny faces. And every morning, I kissed her forehead before going to class. Janet had helped me design a small business plan. I had named my dream salon Zawadi Beauty Hub. It's not just a salon, I told her proudly. It's a new beginning. One afternoon, after class, I opened my social media and saw something that shocked me. Mama Shiko had posted a picture of me braiding a customer's hair. The caption said, "From rejected to respected. A mother. A fighter. A queen. Nyambura's journey inspires us all." It had over 400 shares and dozens of comments. This girl is a true inspiration. God lifted her higher than the shame. Her mother must be hiding under the bed right now. I smiled. Not because I wanted revenge. But because this was proof. Proof that I could be more. Proof that pain wasn't the end. Proof that a mother's rejection didn't define my future. I didn't know it yet, but Mama was watching. She had seen the post. She had read the comments. And for the first time in her proud life, she cried silently in her room, staring at the girl she had once claimed was a disgrace. She didn't know how to say sorry. But life? Life was already showing her who the real disgrace was. It was a sunny Saturday afternoon. The breeze was light, my baby girl Zawadi was fast asleep beside me in her little pink blanket, and I was putting the final touches on the signboard for my new salon. Zawadi Beauty Hub. Where queens are crowned. I stared at it for a moment, tears filling my eyes. Not sad tears, but tears of pride, of victory, of finally proving that I wasn't who they said I was. The salon was small, just 2 seats and 1 mirror, but it was mine. Fully mine. Janet and Mama Shiko had helped me get the equipment through the center's empowerment program. I had already styled 5 women from the neighborhood, and word was spreading fast. I even had 2 bookings for the next week. As I swept the floor, I saw her. Mama. Standing across the road. In a church blouse, a handbag tucked under her arm, and her pride melting off her face like ice under the sun. She looked thinner. Older. Quieter. Her eyes met mine, but this time, they didn't burn with fire. They burned with regret. I didn't say a word. I simply kept sweeping. Zawadi stirred in her sleep, and I gently covered her with a shawl. Mama crossed the road slowly, as if unsure if she was welcome. Nyambura, she said, her voice soft, too soft for the woman who once shouted, "You are no daughter of mine." Yes? I replied calmly. She looked at the signboard, then at Zawadi, then at me. I saw the posts. I heard the stories. I came to see for myself. Silence. She shifted uncomfortably, eyes fixed on her shoes. You named her Zawadi? Yes. Because that's what she is, a gift. More silence. She nodded slowly. She's beautiful, Mama whispered. I waited. I wasn't rushing anything. I wanted her to feel what silence tastes like. I had eaten enough of it when she slammed that door in my face. Then finally, she said it. Nyambura. I was wrong. I looked at her. I was scared of shame. I cared too much about what people thought. But I forgot to love you. I forgot to be your mother when you needed me the most. Her voice cracked. Please forgive me. I miss you. I miss my daughter. I miss my grandchild. I don't know how to fix it, but I want to try. She knelt right there. On the dusty floor. In front of neighbors, in front of my new customers. I'm sorry, Nyambura. For a moment, I stood there in silence. My heart was beating hard. A year ago, I would have given anything to hear those words. But now, I didn't need them. I had already healed. Still, I looked down at her, this broken woman who once stood taller than pride, and I saw something I hadn't seen in a long time. Humility. I bent slowly and helped her up. Mama, I said, looking her in the eyes, I already forgave you the day Zawadi was born. I just chose not to go back to the pain. I chose peace instead. Her eyes welled up. Can I hold her? She asked. I nodded. She walked over and gently picked Zawadi up, tears falling freely down her cheeks. You look just like your mother when she was a baby, she whispered. Forgive your Gogo, little one. Zawadi giggled in her sleep. At that moment, I realized something powerful. I didn't rise to prove Mama wrong. I rose to prove that my story wasn't over, even when someone else tried to write the end. And now, the same woman who once cursed my name was calling me daughter again. But this time, it wasn't from a place of pride. It was from a place of respect. This story teaches that sometimes the people closest to you will hurt you the most, but that doesn't mean your life is over. Never let rejection stop your journey. Your comeback can be louder than their betrayal.